It's about 6:20 p.m. We'll dispense with the pledge of allegiance because we just did that. Let's move to roll call.
Okay. Dumas,
Here.
Councilmember Elwood,
Here.
Councilmember Graves is absent. Councilmember Kuhn.
Here.
Councilmember Mills,
Here.
Councilmember Pittman,
Here.
and Mr. Mayor.
Here.
Okay, 5 members of the council and the mayor present.
I'll declare a quorum. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Barb made the motion. And Lynn seconded it. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is approved. We have minutes distributed from the July 18th meeting and the August 8th workshop. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move to approve the minutes from 7/18 and August 2nd.
Lynn's made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Barb seconded it. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Any ceremonials, recognitions, proclamations, or memorial? Hearing none, we'll move on. Financial statements, Wes?
Okay.
One slide over here.
Back up, let's see, do we have the balance sheet before that? Okay, okay, at the end of July, this is, we had a
I'm sorry.
grand total
I moved. I need those.
there we go, of $685,000 in the bank. 286 of that was in the general fund, 75,000, a total of those two items, and the reserve fund, and 324,000 in the street fund. And then we owed $765 on payroll taxes, which I paid in August. Did not get done before the end of July. It was not due until August. Okay, on to the general fund. The total receipts were $30,762 for the month, bringing us to a total of $169,000 in receipts year to date. This would be for the administrative purposes. I will comment that through August, we are through about 58% of the year. You can see for sales tax revenue, we have received about 55% of the budget. The municipal aid, we're at 66% of the budget because in the month of July, we get they call it a loan against municipal aid, and then that's paid monthly. That's paid back monthly by subtracting it from our distributions, and that was about $4,000. Then if you go on through expenses, I don't think there was anything too unusual in expenses until we get down, clear down to public safety. Let's see. Oh, we're back up. No, keep going. There's district court. Public safety.
Paid some money on the sheriff contract.
There we go. We got our first bill from the sheriff For sheriff services, deputy services, that was 13,472, and that was for the months of April, May, and June. We do not have the July bill yet. And since we only have one deputy here, according to our contract, that is being prorated on an hourly basis. So when they're not here, we're not paying them. The full contract would be about $5,000 a month.
Per deputy.
Yeah.
Because we have 155,000
Yeah.
a year.
Supposed to remember for about 9 or 10.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So as you go on down then, our total expenses, let's see. Our income exceeded expenses by about $5,000 for the month, so we ended at 285,000. Any questions on that? Okay,
I would say that on the sales tax revenue side of it, I think that'll catch up by the end of the year because there's certainly a lag between when the state collects the sales tax and when it gets distributed out to everybody, so.
right.
um,
The sales tax would be based. The merchants collect the sales tax 1 month, pay it to the state the second month, and the state distributes it to us the third month. So, you know, and tax receipts were low during the winter. And they pick up during the summer, and at the end of the year, we'll be getting into the holiday season, so I would agree with you, Dan.
We really haven't seen the benefit of much of the summer tourist revenue yet because of the lag and
Right.
money.
Right. Okay. This is the reserve fund. There was no change in that, 75,000 in that. We'll probably be receiving interest on that money on the CD, probably in August.
What rate are we paying on those CDs?
Pardon?
What rate are we paying, getting paid on the CDs?
I think it's just below 5%.
I've seen ads in the newspapers that are in the low fives, like 5.1.
Right, and even I
5.06.
see like at our best, I noticed the rates like there are certain CDs of 5 and 5.25.
And ours is gonna go for another 6 months or more? Did we do it for a year? I don't recall.
I'd have to, I think it was just 6 or 8 months.
Okay, all right. So it'll be opportunity to get it for a little higher. Okay.
Okay, so then if we go on to the street fund, you can see our revenues there, the 4-lane highway fund, which is the 0.5% sales tax. We're at 63.5% of our budget there, so we're running ahead of budget on that. Severance tax is 38%. That's a small part of our receipts, and that receipts there have been not large so far this year. Our share of the property tax, county property tax, we're at 47% of the budget, and I think we'll pick that up towards the end of the year when the bulk of the people are paying their property taxes. The fuel tax, we're at 57% of the budget for the year to date, so we're close to budget there. And the wholesale fuel, 61% is above budget. So we're really on street funds, I'd say we're probably, it's looking like we'll be above budget, more than budget. And we have not had much for expenses. That 332 was for bridge inspection, I believe. So we ended up with the 324,000 in the street fund. Then here is if there are questions, the explanation of the expenses for the month.
On the street fund, I guess the only comment I would make is that Danny Presley and I are talking about how, what the road plan should be for next year, and how the city might be able to utilize some of its funds. That process becomes more clear once we know if we are or are not going to get a grant project next year. If we do, then we know what we want to repay. If we don't, I think we still need to do something with that money instead of just letting it sit in our account. So we'll have to come up with a plan for us utilize.
When you submitted that request, what was the total for that? They give us 300,000 and they allow us to spend 250 more. We need to make sure that.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look what the total,
When you make.
the total was, but it was pretty, it was pretty similar to the Hawkeye State Line project.
We need to make sure it's somewhere around 6.
Basically, it was
600.
repaving all of Woodsdale Drive. I turned in a grant request to repave all of Woodsdale Drive and the section of State Line from the four-way down to Woodsdale. And that, I think, my estimate was in the 500,000 range.
I move that we accept the financials.
I have a motion to accept financials. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Jerry seconded. He beat you, Ken.
Okay.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The financials are approved. Next on the agenda is police and fire reports. Unless somebody wants to go over them. They were distributed. Do we make those reports part of the minutes when we post them online?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe on the website, there's a place where she posts these reports independently.
Okay.
And they're in this work document that's on this meeting notice, so.
So everybody, the public has access.
Right.
Yeah.
So if there's no comment on the police and fire reports, then we'll move on. Carroll County Broadband Committee update. Jerry, you want me to?
Yeah, please do. I had a doctor appointment, shouldn't make that last week.
Yeah, I did attend the consortium meeting. Was it last week? I guess it was last
Yeah, it
week.
was last week.
I turned in our survey cards and our spreadsheet that included the online survey. And our total number of responses was 245. I believe the rest of the county, they said, was 144 at the time.
Yeah.
And only 4 responses in total west of the Kings River. All of the responses they've gotten so far have been from Holiday Island and from Eureka Springs. And there's probably some reasons for that. When you get out into the rural area, it's hard to connect with people to, to solicit feedback on a survey. If you're not going door to door, you're going to have a hard time getting feedback. Berryville and Green Forest aren't in that bad a shape right now, ready for broadband. They're right on 62. And they've had fiber at least running down 62 for some time already, and even part of Eureka Springs already has a hookup to fiber, not very much, but some of it. So the real need, if you're defining the need as being fiber optic cable broadband, then the real need is in Holiday Island and Eureka Springs. And so that's where most of the report, most of the survey responses came from. Sandy will be compiling that information. And by the way, I'd have to say that Sandy Martin, who is kind of the economic development person for Eureka Springs, but she wears many hats over there. She's on a lot of special committees and stuff like that. She is doing an excellent job of trying to pull the county together and put together a convincing argument to the state that Carroll County needs their share of that money. And in fact, the Carroll County Broadband Consortium is being held up by the state to all the other counties as the correct way to approach a project. So hopefully that will gain us some momentum when it comes time to actually handing out the money. So she, I think, is planning on having that report done to turn into the state by the end of the month. So after that, we'll be kind of in a wait and see mode. And I don't know that there's a timeline on when they're going to decide how to allocate the money.
I've not seen, and she's not mentioned it, so.
Yeah. So we'll be in a wait and see mode, but we've done our part.
Would like to comment, I think it was yesterday, it must have been on the radio on 94.3 on the Rogers station. Cox was advertising the availability of their fiber optic cable service.
Really? Of course.
Yeah, and I thought, well, gee, maybe we should all call and say, oh, I'll take the fiber optic cable.
Well, obviously Cox is gonna go where they think they can make the most money. It's along I-49 is where the money is. So we're gonna have to fight for our own well-being in this regard. All right, planning commission, any report?
We are having another September 12th public hearing and a regular meeting following that for a rezoning and conditional use. I updated the city website, so actually I have on the public hearings page, I show what the reasons are. I have, after this meeting, we'll update the documents so you can start reading the briefs. So that's not been done. I put that off until after tonight.
Okay. That's gonna be a pretty important hearing too. There's probably gonna be a lot of public input into that. No special committees. Going on to business, no old business, under new business. Ordinance 2023-017 is more or less a housekeeping ordinance. Before I ask for a motion to consider the ordinance, I'll just give you some background. We've been operating as far as fiscal affairs, how we conduct business for the city and stuff like that. We've basically been operating on resolutions, and maybe there might have been one ordinance out there in the past. And if you look at the actual municipal code structure that we're going to want to follow once we decide we're ready to codify our ordinances, there's something called Title III, and Title III deals with the fiscal affairs of the city. So I thought it was appropriate for us to draft an ordinance to basically solidify our fiscal affairs. So I will now entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2023-017, an ordinance for the conduct of fiscal affairs of the city of Holiday Island, Arkansas, and declaring an emergency.
Make a motion, we approve the resolution, ordinance number 2023-017. I'll second.
All right, Ken made a motion to approve and Pat seconded it. Mr. Clerk,
Sure.
Recorder Treasurer.
Ordinance number 2023-017. An ordinance for the conduct of the fiscal affairs of the city of Holiday Island, Arkansas, and declaring an emergency. Whereas the city of Holiday Island has previously passed ordinances and resolutions defining certain aspects of the conduct of the fiscal affairs of the city. And whereas the city council has determined that additional definition as to the conduct of the fiscal affairs of the city is required. And whereas the city council has determined that certain policies relative to the conduct of the fiscal affairs of the city that were authorized by resolution should now be authorized by ordinance. Now therefore be it ordained by the city council of the city of Holiday Island, Arkansas, that the following policy relative to the conduct of the fiscal affairs of the city of Holiday Island be adopted. And since the fiscal affairs of the city of Holiday Island are ongoing and an emergency is declared, that this ordinance will become effective upon passing. Passed and approved by the city council of Holiday Island, Arkansas on this date of 8/15/2023. Approved, Daniel Keys, Mayor, attest Wesley Stelly, Recorder Treasurer.
I would recommend that we go ahead and read the text for section 3.01 through 3.4.01.
Okay. 3 point.
So since the rest of them are basically reserved,
You said to 3 point.
just read basically from here.
Okay, section 3.01 purchases. 3.01.01, $25,000 or under. The mayor or his duly authorized representative shall have the exclusive power and responsibility to make purchases of all supplies, apparatus, equipment, materials, services, subscriptions, memberships, and other things requisite for public purposes for the city of Holiday Island, Arkansas, and to make all necessary contracts for work or labor to be done or material or other necessary things to be furnished for the benefit of the city or in carrying out any work or undertaking of a public nature where the amount of the expenditure for any such purpose or contract does not exceed the sum of $35,000. 3.0102, over $35,000. Where the amount of expenditures for any purchase or contract exceeds the sum of $35,000, the mayor or his authorized representative shall invite competitive bids thereon by legal advertisement in a newspaper of general circulation in Holiday Island. Bids received pursuant to such advertisement shall be opened and read on the date set for receiving such bids in the presence of the mayor or his duly authorized representative. The contract shall be awarded to the lowest responsible bidder provided, however, that the mayor or his duly authorized representative may reject any and all bids received. All contracts must be approved by the city council. References ordinance 2022-011 and 2000 ordinance 2023-04.
I got a
Section
problem with the heading on that.
Yeah, I was gonna make a comment when we're done.
I was trying to figure out what you did between 25 and 35.
My cut,
That's have a council meeting then.
Vacation.
along with,
Section 3.0103, approval to make payments. The mayor or his duly authorized representative may approve for payment out of any fund previously appropriated for that purpose, or disapprove any bills, debts, or liabilities asserted as claims against the city when funds on hand are adequate to pay such bills, debts, or liabilities. That payment or disapproval of any bills, debts, or liabilities not covered by a previous appropriation shall require confirmation of the governing body. 3.0104, competitive bidding. The requirement for competitive bidding is waived as provided by Arkansas Code annotated 1458-104 and 1458-303. Section 3.02, mayor, council members, elected officials, and municipal employees doing business with the cities. 3.0201, conditions. The mayor, council members, elected officials, and municipal employees may conduct business with the city as authorized by ACA Section 1442-107B under the following conditions. Purchases under $10,000 and comparable merchandise or equipment at comparable prices is not otherwise available, and the cost of the service is under $10,000, and comparable service at comparable prices is not otherwise available. Section 3.03, use of city credit cards. 3.0301, credit cards authorized. The recorder treasurer is authorized to obtain credit cards in the name of the town, the city of Holiday Island, Arkansas. The recorder treasurer and mayor will be the primary holders of such credit cards, but are authorized to allow other city officials or employees to use the card under close supervision and exclusively for authorized city business. All applicable laws, City of Holiday Island, Arkansas resolutions and ordinances and procedures relative to making municipal purchases and accounting for those purchases apply when making credit card purchases. A receipt documenting any credit card purchase is required. The credit card billing statement is not satisfactory justification of a credit card purchase. Credit card balances must be paid in full each month in order to avoid deficit spending. References Resolution 2021-015. Section 3.04, purchase of real estate. 3.0401, purchase of real estate, except as hereinafter provided, no purchase of real estate with or without improvements shall be made by the city council until an appraisal of said property is made by a licensed appraiser. It is not the intent of this ordinance to establish the price to be paid for a tract of real estate by requiring that the real estate be appraised, but rather to be used as an aid and guide by the city council in arriving at a fair and just price to pay for the real estate. The requirements of this ordinance may be waived by the city council in cases of emergency or in cases where the city council finds it impractical to comply herewith.
All right, is there any discussion on the ordinance other than the fact that the title of 3.01.01 should be corrected to show 35,000 under to match the text?
What constraints are there? I'm used to these kind of things stating provided funds are in the current, in the budget. You can buy stuff within these, but the funds already have to be approved in the budget. I don't see anything. If you want to buy something that we haven't budgeted, that's not applicable.
Is it possible it's in the Arkansas statute 1442-107?
Could be, but that's not.
Because it says the city has authorized by the statute in 3.02.01. I don't know the answer to the question, but it could be there. It says we can't spend more than we have. That's what you're after, right?
No, you can't spend more than we've authorized.
Oh,
I mean, you came to us and you asked for approval to buy that software back. That wasn't something that we,
It wasn't budgeted.
right. And there's no restrictions in here that I can see is the item have to be in the approved budget. Because otherwise you need to go back and get budgetary approval.
Am I misreading? What is
Huh?
301.03 say?
That's not, I don't know, every statute.
03 talks about the approval to make the payments. That'd be out of the
Out
spend.
of any funds previously appropriated for that purpose.
I don't know. I'm just used to, that restriction on it. Right now, reading this, Dan can go out and buy anything he wants as long as under $35,000.
Well, yes, but 3.01.03 says that I can buy it, but I can't pay for it. So I think it is covered in 3.01.03.
I think it's by that it's out of funds previously appropriated. That's what you see, 3.1.03. Did that cover what your concern is?
I believe it does.
That's the payment out of the
Well,
funds.
we previously added stuff to the budget that came up, so it's covered some.
3.1, right. Approval to make payments.
I can't see a damn thing with that sun in that.
Sorry.
And
Can you see it on my
in
screen?
practice, it's usually
On
that
my screen here. On my laptop, you can see
We'll
it
go
there.
back to where you were before.
May approve to make sure that funds previously appropriated for that purpose. And then it says,
Okay,
when the
I'll be
funds,
watching you anyway.
when the funds
Well,
on
in
hand are.
practice, what I've seen is usually as far as approved budget items, or when you have so much per account or per line item budgeted,
Yeah.
you usually look at the total budget at the end of the year, and if you spent more than what you budgeted, you amend the budget.
We did that.
We also amend it as you go along if you're gonna do something. that's- So that was the only thing.
It depends on how major it is,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but last year at the end of the year, we were, I think it was actually in January, we passed an ordinance amending the budget for last year to account for one or two categories that were.
and I usually like to see that done in December before the end of the year, but the legislative audit didn't have a problem with what we did.
I think we talked about that, but we didn't know how much we were gonna be over until
Yeah,
at the end of the month, so.
right.
I had a comment about 3.02. The parties that are doing business with the city. In reviewing one of our ordinances, it talks about planning commissioners and board of zoning adjustment members have to file financial statements with the city recorder to reveal their interest in the city and any businesses, and it also talks in there about doing business with the city. So I think we need to include commission members in that list of individuals. Commission members are part of the group that are affected by doing business with the city. So it'll be there and on your title page as well.
Are they not municipal employees?
They're not employees,
Now,
they're appointees
they're appointed.
of the city doing city business. So if I was a builder, it was also on the planning commission, I might have some difficulty spending city money.
So I'm inserting after elected officials, appointed.
Elected
Commissioners.
elected and appointed.
That'll be trusted as well.
I've got comment on 3.04. Question.
We correct.
There you go.
Okay, Jerry.
This covers, appraisal for purchasing private property. It doesn't say anything that had to be paid for. Is there anywhere where the council is authorized to apply for credit to buy real estate? Or should there be? And let's just say hypothetically, we wanted to buy the property we just talked about.
Mhm.
And which would be, I don't know, if I heard you say 188,000 or something. And we would obviously finance that.
Yeah. I think there's a whole section of Arkansas code on debt spending, and I'd have to research that. I don't have an answer to that right now.
And that was something we want to consider down the road.
I'm almost positive that there's a section of the Arkansas code about, because cities are not allowed to deficit spend. So if you're going to go into debt, there's laws about how you're gonna fund that and pay it back and everything else. So I'll look that up.
I mean, I'm thinking just off the top of my head, if we down the road approve an A and B tax, buy a parcel of land, use that tax to pay it. So
Any other comments? So then we can move to a roll call vote to approve ordinance 2023-017 as amended. And those amendments being adding appointed commissioners to section 3.02 and changing or correcting the $25,000 error to $35,000 in 3.01. No further discussion, we'll move to a roll call vote.
Okay. Councilmember Dumas,
Aye.
Councilmember Elwood. Aye. Councilmember Graves is absent. Councilmember Coon,
Aye.
Councilmember Mills,
Aye.
Councilmember Pittman, all in favor, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, the ordinance is passed, and since there's an emergency clause, I'll entertain a motion to approve the emergency clause.
Make a motion to approve the emergency clause. I'll second.
Ken made a motion, Pat seconded it, any discussion? Roll call vote on that.
Councilmember Dumas,
Aye.
Councilmember Elwood,
Aye.
Councilmember Coon,
Aye.
Councilmember Mills,
Aye.
Councilmember Pittman,
Aye.
all All in favor, Your Honor?
Okay, the emergency clause passes, so our fiscal affairs are now theoretically in order. Moving on the agenda then, the next thing on the agenda is ordinance 2023-018. I'll entertain a motion that we approve ordinance 2023-018. An ordinance amending City of Holiday Island, Arkansas Planning and Zoning Regulations, section 7.05, commercial districts and industrial district uses for government services from conditional to permitted in commercial zoning districts C1 and C2 for other purposes and declaring an emergency.
I move that we approve ordinance 2023-18.
I'll second that.
Then we have a motion to approve, and Ken seconded it. Lynn, since this is your baby, you want to read it?
Ordinance 2023-18, an ordinance amending City of Holiday Island, Arkansas Planning and Zoning Regulations, section 705, commercial districts and industrial district uses for government services from conditional to permitted in commercial zoning districts C1 and C2 for other purposes and declaring an emergency. Whereas pursuant to ACA 1456-416, the Holiday Island City Planning Commission, HICPC, has determined it necessary to develop and revise from time to time the planning and zoning regulations for Holiday Island to provide districts of compatible uses for unified development, for the elimination of non-conformance and other matters of general welfare of the city. And whereas pursuant to ACA 1456-422, public notice was given by the HICPC for its intent to amend planning and zoning regulations, section 705, and advised that copies of documents were available on the city website for public review and examination. Whereas after due notice as required by law, the HICPC held a public hearing for all persons desiring to be heard regarding amendments to the planning and zoning regulations, section 705. And whereas after thorough consideration of comments and views expressed by all interested parties or persons, said HICPC by resolution HICPC R 23-7 on August 8, 23, as certified, adopted, and recommended that said amendments to the planning and zoning regulations, section 705, should be considered for adoption by the City Council of Holiday Island. Whereas all comments, views, suggestions, and recommendations have been considered and addressed by the City Council, and whereas the City Council of Holiday Island now finds it to be in the best interest of the citizens of Holiday Island and desires to adopt such said amendments to planning and zoning regulations, section 705 ordinance to better provide
section 705, commercial districts and industrial district uses table as illustrated below. So formerly those were conditional in C1 and P, or in C2, so now they're permitted. Section 2, that all resolutions, ordinances, and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, to the extent such conflict, are hereby repealed. Section 3, that in the event that any section, paragraph, subdivision, clause, phrase, definition, fee, fine, or other provision or portion of this ordinance or the planning and zoning regulations shall be adjudged invalid or unconstitutional, the same shall not affect the validity of this ordinance as a whole, or any and the remaining provisions of this ordinance shall be construed as if such invalid, unenforceable, unconstitutional provision or provision has never been contained therein. Section 4 of the city report of